Everyone, welcome back to KDX Bricks Analytics. This is where we talk everything Lego investing and reselling, and I'm going to analyze all of the Lego sets in the middle of my mentions and enthusiasm score table. Many of them I'm watching really closely because I think I could get some really good returns on investment. And of course, at the end of this video, I will give you my top 3 of everything we talked about, so let's get into it. The first set we're going to look at is the Mighty Bowser set 71411. 3 mentions, but a 2.7 enthusiasm score in the last 3 months. I love this part of the table because I think many of these sets still have good opportunity, especially on discount, and a lot of them do see discount, but they also are sets that are not necessarily on everybody's radar for investing, whereas the sets that are at the top of this table get talked about so much. We saw it last year or the year before with the Republic Fighter Tank that was the #1 set, and those have been hard to sell on the secondary market so far, but these sets lower on the table do fly under the radar from time to time and have huge return on investment opportunities sometimes. If you're new to my channel, check out the beginning of my last video where I explain all of this, but in a nutshell, I watch all of the other Lego investing and reselling videos on YouTube, and every time the presenter mentions a Lego set for or against investing, I record the data, and then based on how enthusiastic they are about that set, I give it an E-score of 0, 1, 2, or 3, 3 being the highest, so a 2.7 out of 3.0 is very good. For my analysis, I like Mighty Bowser a lot, but not as much as I did earlier in the year. A long, almost 3.5-year shelf life, a really solid 4.4 on Brickset. $270 is a big buy-in price. It will keep some investors out of this set. On camel.com, it's showing that it's never been on sale on Amazon. That is a good sign. And it's also showing that third-party sellers have had a good pop during the last 2 holiday periods, but recently when it's been out of stock, not so much, up to about the $300 range, but right now $257. But the reason I have some concern is because of these recent eBay sold prices: $215 free shipping, $215 with $20 of shipping, and then we've got some of these that are $200 and best offer accepted, which is going to be below the $200 price point, so a fair amount lower than the $270 MSRP. We have had some large Nintendo Mario related sets that might be good comparables from the past. Here's the Nintendo Entertainment System, retailed for $270. Brickset is showing $246. That's typically a good price after shipping and fees. The question mark block, $200 and $199. And then here's Mighty Bowser, and then we've got some newer ones. I did have this in my power rankings video from a couple of months ago in the 9th place. Maybe I'd drop it to 13th or 14th now. So there's still a lot I like about it, but I do want it on an okay discount. The supply and demand bot in Shane's BrickBucks Ignite Discord program is kind of all over the place. The average sales rank is in the 50 to 60,000. Pretty high for a Lego set, but when you factor in there's a $270 set, that's not terrible. A lot of average daily drops. That means there's a lot of turnover, so those are green, but the third-party sale prices are right at MSRP so far. Here's a quick projection of what I'd be looking for when I do pick this set up. I will be getting at least a couple. Retails for $270. I'm hoping for at least 20% off, which brings it down to $216. I do want to include sales tax in here. I like to give the best overall estimate possible for the cross-section of people watching the video, so when we add sales tax in, my total buy-in would be $231. If I bought it from Lego, then I'd get 5% back in insiders points. I would hope for 10% on Rakuten. Sometimes it can be as high as 15, but also sometimes with the larger, hard to find or exclusive sets, this one is not exclusive, but some of these larger sets, maybe it's not higher than 3% on Rakuten. But if it is 10%, then that's $21. Hopefully get a GWP. Some of them can do as well as $40 in the secondary market, but a lot of them are around $25. When I stack in all of those promos, then my equivalent buy-in would be $173, which is 36% off. And then I'd be hoping for a $370 sale price. That might be pushing it based on the data we saw, or maybe it would be a longer hold time. But if that was the case, then almost a $200 profit, throw in 10% tax on the sale, that would be 102% return on investment. Even though I put these numbers together a few minutes ago, now that I've explained them through with you, I feel like this might be too ambitious, and something more like an 85% return on investment would be more realistic after a 2.5 or 3 year shelf life. Next up is this awesome Batman, the animated series Gotham City kind of art piece you definitely mounted on the wall. It's a $300 set, but an awesome 4.6 on Brickset. Also 3 mentions with an E-score of 2.7. Hold on a second, somebody's pinging me on Marketplace. They're trying to buy one of my Snowtrooper battle packs. He says he's 18 minutes out, so I'm gonna have to pause the video in a few. I'll go big head here real quick and grab one of those behind me. I think I've got 6 left, so that's gonna get sold today for $20. $25. I think I bought them for average $13, but it's been a few years, as you guys know. That quick segment was not contrived, so let me get back to the table. Two big reasons I like this set: less than a 2-year shelf life, and more Brickset members want it than own it. Even though those numbers are kind of low for a $300 set, that shows me demand. And I looked at the Bucky data right before I hit record, and it's looking pretty good. The Camel 3X is also looking okay. Another one that hasn't been on sale on Amazon. Third-party sales early in the year, pretty decent, up to over $400. Recently, that has settled down. Here are the early art sets. I think there are some good comparables here. Jim Lee Batman collection retailed for $120. Brickset is showing $173. And don't forget last year's Batcave Shadow Box retailed for $400. Brickset is showing $540 now, and it just retired 8 months ago. But keep in mind, Gotham City will not follow the path exactly as the Batman Shadow Box, because nobody was talking about the Shadow Box. Some people are talking about this set. Oh yeah, and I have this one third place in my last Power Rankings video. Our third set with 3 mentions and an E-score of 2.3 is this Lamborghini Gran Turismo concept car Speed Champions. Some people hate it, some people love it for investing. I think most everybody likes it for their own collection and, you know, to build such a unique design. But the people who don't like it for investing say, since it's not an actual car that's ever been released that somebody could go buy, it doesn't fit with all of the other Speed Champion sets. I think that makes it unique, and therefore this is a pretty good one. It's the new standard $27. My policy with Speed Champions is if I can get them for $12 to $18 now, then I'm going for it. And I really want some of this set. I just haven't been able to find a good sale. I know in Europe and England, it's been on sale a lot. I'm waiting for it to happen here in the US. And just a quick reminder, here on Amazon, we can see the demand for Speed Champions. These monthly sales velocities are awesome. 4,000 for the F1 Red Bull racing car. We got some new ones here that don't have any data yet, but then we go to the ones that have been out for a little while. The Fast and Furious Nissan Skyline, 4,000. The Ferrari F40, 3,000. 4,000, 6,000. The concept car, 6,000. Yeah, here's a small discount for $22. It's not where it needs to be for me. With 3 mentions and a 2.0 enthusiasm score is this Architecture Skyline New York City set. Another one in my Power Rankings video. That was just coincidence. $60 set. I like the price point. 9-year shelf life. That seems crazy, but that's exactly why I want it. Lego would only be keeping the best of the best sets out for 9 years. New York City is obviously a popular destination, and it will be that way for decades to come. I actually used to live 1 block away from the Empire State Building. Did a couple years in the mid-2000s up there. Good demand for these types of sets on Amazon. 3,000 for New York City, 2,000 for Paris, 2,000 for London. But if anybody's checking, the Camel 3X data isn't great, and that's because it's been out for so long. Yes, there will be some secondary market supply that will need to bleed off first, but then they will be going up in value, in my opinion. 75386, Paz Vizsla and the Moff Gideon Battle. $40, 289 pieces, 4 minifigures, 2 of them are unique. That's why it's such a low. 3.8 on Brickset. I personally like this set. I liked that scene. 1.5-year shelf life, but obviously the potential value here is the minifigures. Brickset is showing $10 for Moff Gideon, $6.50 for Paz Vizsla, and then almost $4 for the Praetorian Guards. It's always good to verify the minifigure prices on Bricklink, where you can actually see sales history. So here's Moff Gideon, also about $10, so that's good. And then here's Paz Vizsla, right around the $6.50. So those two check out. Adding up all these values, we're around $25, just over 50% of RRP. For Star Wars sets where minifigures are going to drive the value, I like to be at least 50% minifigure value, but a set like this, because I think the rest of it isn't that valuable, I'd like to actually be a little higher. So not my favorite set unless it was on a really big discount, which it has been a couple of times. I grabbed one, I think close to 50% off from a Target. Let's look at Paris Architecture Skyline set. Need to scroll down on the table over here. 3 mentions, but a lower 1.7 enthusiasm score. I still like it, but not as much as the New York City set. As we saw a minute ago on Amazon, it is selling less than the New York City set. I'm sure when I was scrolling, you saw a bunch of sets that are not highlighted this light reddish pink color. I'm not talking about those sets in this video because they are not expected to retire according to Brick Fanatics or BrickTap. Since we're already here in August, almost to Q4, I want to focus on retiring sets. Also with 3 mentions and a 1.7 E-score is this really awful Bark Speeder Escape kind of battle pack. $30 for this. Yes, 4 minifigures, but only one of them is unique, and one of the 4 minifigures is the tiny little baby Grogu, baby Yoda over here that's been in a lot of sets, so that does not count. A low low 3.6 on brick set. Again, awful set, but I am now the proud owner of 10 of these. And the reason is because recently Walmart online did a flash clearance sale and they were selling these for $12. At that price, I had to get some. The two clone minifigures are decent. Kellen Beck is okay. Obviously, I don't need 10 of him, but 20 of the clone troopers is pretty awesome. The speeder is junk, but all the extra pieces is kind of nice. And here are those minifigures. Keller and Beck is $6.80, $4 for each of the clones, and then around $3 for Grogu, which I think is probably way overpriced. But adding these values up, it works out to $15 or so. On eBay, it's not awful. Here's one for $22, $24 from Germany, $18 plus $4 of shipping. But like I've said many times in previous videos, I was absolutely passing on this set unless there was a blowout sale, $12, 60% off. Couldn't pass it up. At that price, let's do a quick ROI predictor. $12, a little bit of tax, $12.84. Since I got them at Walmart, no additional promos, deals, or benefits, so an equivalent of 57% off after factoring in tax from the $30 recommended retail price. If I can sell them on Marketplace locally for the retail price, then my profit is $17 per unit. Throw in some taxes on my sale, yields a 120% return on investment. So even though it's an awful set at its retail price, this illustrates how important it is to be vigilant about getting great discounts. And you may be asking, how did I know it was going for $12 on Walmart, which did not last more than a few hours? All of the folks and bots over at the BrickBucks Ignite program started pinging on my phone, so I immediately put in an order. I ordered 3 or 4 other sets. All of them got delivered except 2 Droidicas, so I got to figure that out. But I got a bunch of little sets at 60% off. I'll probably do a haul video sometime soon. So if you've heard me talk about the Ignite Discord program before, link in the description below. DG Bricks and I do get a cut, which we certainly appreciate, but this is a real life example of the value of that program. Let's go to a couple of sets with 3 mentions and a low 1.3 enthusiasm score. Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle, $80, 3.8 on brick set. Again, another Star Wars set that is way overpriced. 3 of the 4 minifigures are exclusive. Merrick is showing $11.50, Sabine Wren, $8, Ahsoka, $7, and then Professor Hugh Yang is $7. So decent value on these. It totals up between $30 and $35, which is well below 50% of the $80 retail price. That's a big reason why I'm definitely passing on this set. Also, the Camel 3X data is pretty rough. It's been on sale a lot. Third-party sales have not done well, other than one very quick pop right at the holidays. It looks like only a couple of units sold at the higher price. And then here's another reason why I don't think there will be much demand for this Ahsoka set. Here we are on Google Trends. This is the graph for the search term Star Wars. This looks pretty decent, but it's always better to have a comparison search term in there. So I'm going to add in Ahsoka, and this is over the last 5 years, and now we really see the issue. Ahsoka is barely talked about compared to Star Wars overall, other than when season 1 came out on Disney Plus. Season 2 is coming soon, but that was a pretty short pop in my opinion for season 1. Not the best series, honestly. Spider-Man mech versus Anti-Venom. One $15 mech with 2 minifigures. We've looked at the recent superheroes mechs in my other videos. Most of them have not done well. You've got to go to the much older mechs to see some that have had a pretty good return on investment. So I'm not excited about this set, but occasionally I see them for 50 or 60% off on the shelves at Target, and they do sell okay locally, usually as an add-on to another set, or sometimes 3 or 4 mechs selling at once. And now down here to the 2 sets with 3 mentions, but a 1.0 enthusiasm score. You can't go any lower unless you are at a 0 on my not top sets table, which will be a future video. But we've got the Batman 8-in-1 brickheads. It's an awful set because it's $25. Yes, there are 8 different Batman figures you can build, but you can only build one of them at a time with the pieces in the box. So it's basically $25 for a $10 brickhead. Not much more needs to be said on this set. And now to another superheroes mech, this time the Batman mech armor. Only 1 minifigure this time, but same story. Good discount, I'll grab them. With only 2 mentions, but a solid 2.5 enthusiasm score is the Winter Village Collection Alpine Lodge. Years ago, these did great. Lego has kept them at the $100 price point, which is fantastic. Many of them are Lego exclusives, but the last few waves have not done so well because people have caught on to past performance. But I think the door for opportunity with these is starting to open back up again. It's really funny to see these cycles. There's always that lagging effect, right? So a sub-theme starts to perform well, lagging effect, everybody invests in it. Then because everybody invests in it, that sub-theme starts to perform not so well because it's saturated on the secondary market. So now lagging effect, people don't invest in it. So now we're finishing that cycle where, because people are not investing in these so much anymore, they are starting to show a better return on investment. And we look at Camel 3X for this set. Last year over the holidays, it sold pretty consistently for $160 to $180. I myself am probably still passing just because I have so many other sets that I've been tracking and I haven't watching this one closely, but maybe on a whim I'll grab a couple. The second of 4 with 2 mentions and an E-score of 2.5 is the Creator 3-in-1 Majestic Tiger. Great set, but it's been out for 4 years, so definitely passing. But if we look at recent Creator 3-in-1, Lego's doing a lot of these animal sets, so clearly they are selling well. And some of the newer ones look good, like Panda Family. Some of them not as great, like the Beautiful Horse, not my favorite. And then some of the recent ones that are retired have done okay. Let's get down a little further to the Walmart exclusive. Where are we? It's coming up. Wow, that's far down there. Here we go. The Walmart exclusive Birdhouse. Retail for $30, showing $30, but it was on sale for 60% off if I recall. I grabbed 5 of them. But then the big one is the Target exclusive Pink Parrot that retired at the end of 24, retailed for $20. Brick set showing almost $30 now. I do think I still have 65. No, I did sell one recently, so I'm down to 64 of them, but I bought them all at the $12 price point when Target was having that fire sale. The City Mobile Construction Crane. I love this set. All those wheels, the yellow, the huge boom. This one is also in my power rankings video. Absolutely flying under the radar. $110 is expensive, but I don't think it's a terrible price for a City set, especially because the vast majority of the time you can get City sets for at least 20% off and then probably stack a few other deals and promos on top. Year and a half shelf life is awesome. And I've shown you this a few times already, but previous waves of City construction sets have done quite well. Got to scroll down a little further, but yeah, some of these from 5-8 years ago doing pretty good. And then here we are on Camel 3X, not on sale on Amazon yet. That's a good sign, pushes it more to flying under the radar. But because it's a City set, we would not expect third-party sales when it really hasn't been out of stock on Amazon to do anything special yet. I'm not worried about that. I still think this is an awesome set and a huge sleeper. This Ninjago Dragonian Storm Village set. This is a set that has been nowhere near my radar until I prepped for this video. Check this out. $40, 305 pieces, but 7 minifigures. Only one is unique. But when we look at the minifigure value, $11.42 for the Rogue J, $9 for Moro, almost $8 for the Dragonian Warrior. And then the rest of these are in the $7 and $6 range other than the last couple. That adds up to over $50 in minifigure value for a $40 set. We're all learning about this set together. Based on that, I need to pick up some of these for my portfolio. Now, a bunch of sets with 2 mentions and a 2.0 enthusiasm score. Santa's delivery truck, less than a year and a half shelf life. If it does retire at the end of this year, I think this is a really good one. $20, nice little Christmas set. Crazy that it's only a 3.5 on brick set, but I think this goes up in pretty good value. But the problem is it may not retire because if you recall this reindeer battle pack that came out in 2021, it was originally scheduled to retire at the end of 2022. And here we are in 2025 and it looks like it's retiring at the end of this year, but who knows at this point. Yellow travel suitcase, and actually I think I saw this one fell off the retirement list, so it might be a mistake that I have this in this video. The latest version of a large Disney castle came out in 2023. Brickset is wrong here saying in September of 2024. It is expected to retire at the end of this year. Gives it a 2.5-year shelf life, $400 price point, 4.4 on Brickset is really good. More members want it than own it, but I like the 2.5-year shelf life. I'm not in love with this set, but I think there's some potential here. If we look at the original large Disney castle that was out in 2016, retired in 2022, that's important for a couple of reasons. Very long shelf life of over 7 years says the demand was very high, but also it is showing $366 for a $350 retail price. The fact that it's in the green at all, I think is a good sign for the set that we're looking at now. And don't forget this similar Beauty and the Beast large castle for $280 just came out, and this is a beautiful set. Beauty and the Beast was right in the middle of my young childhood, so I am very nostalgic toward this set. So looking at comparables, I definitely think the demand will be there on the secondary market. The question is, will there be too much supply for a set that doesn't have much buzz around it? Probably not. And check this out on camelcamel.com. Since this set is a Lego exclusive, I do put store exclusive sets in parentheses behind the set name on the table. There is no green line for Amazon sales, the blue line, and all that we see is secondary market sales. And for this $400 set, we're seeing $550 over the holidays, up to $750, even $800. Recently, it has dropped down to the $450 range, but this is a great great looking chart. The city donut truck, it's adorable, but I'm not gonna be picking it up for investing. Spider-Man Final Battle, I go back and forth on this set. $110 for 900 pieces, but 7 unique and 9 total minifigures really isn't bad. The not oxidized Statue of Liberty head looks pretty good. I actually like the scaffolding around it and of course all the minifigures, but the problem is there's a bad stigma with these types of sets because Endgame Final Battle was pretty awful, retired at the end of 24, retailed for $162 on Brickset, so that's really awful. We've got the new Avengers Endgame Final Battle, so far pretty negative feedback. So for me, I could see getting some, but it'd have to be on a really big discount. But of course, don't forget about this Welcome to Apocalypseburg that has part of a Statue of Liberty build from the Lego Movie 2, retired back in 2019 with a short shelf life. $300 set, $746. In no way do I think this set is going to perform anywhere similar, but I always like an opportunity to show this awesome set. Harry Potter, Ollivanders and Madame Malkin's robes, $90 set, decent, 5 exclusive minifigures. Target and sometimes Walmart put Harry Potter sets on 30 to 50% off. Otherwise, I'd be passing on it. Yes, it's part of a series. We've got the new Quality Quidditch Supplies and Ice Cream Parlor, and then we've got last year's Weasley Wizard Wheezes, but this was a Target exclusive. It was the first in this new kind of series. Retailed for $90, already $132. Many people picked this set up in the high 50s, low 60s, but I still think this one was a fluke because it had a low 3.6 on Brickset. The new one has a better 4.1, but again, huge discount set for me. Otherwise, I'm passing. A Jurassic World set with a decent molded dinosaur. I don't put much time or research into the Jurassic Park sets with the large dinosaur molds, but I do pick some of them up because a few of them seem to go at 50% off every year. I just got some new ones, not of this set recently from Walmart. I forget which ones they were, but last year I picked up this $80 Brachiosaurus Discovery for $40, got 15 of those, already showing 71. I haven't sold any of them yet, but in 8 months, that's a 75% return on investment. And then I did pick up 2 of the T-Rex Visitor Center for, I think, $70. No, it would have been $65 for the $130 retail price, and it's showing 103. So same strategy with this one. If I see it 50% off, I'll grab it. Otherwise, I'm passing. Now, a few sets with 2 mentions and a 1.5 enthusiasm score. Buggy the Clown Brickheads from One Piece. Kind of a cool Brickheads build, but I don't know anything about One Piece. Maybe I'll grab a couple of these if I need to get over a GWP threshold at lego.com, but nobody really knows because we don't know how One Piece sets will do. This Target exclusive Moana's Flower Pot, nothing super special. I'm sure the demand is pretty low, but it has some similarities to botanicals, which are hugely popular. Don't forget about the first big one that retired back in 23. The Bird of Paradise retailed for $100, was so unpopular Lego was selling it for about $60, and I think even as low as $50 at Target. Actually, yeah, $50 at Target, and everybody missed out on this great opportunity. I walked by 2 of them at $50 at Target, and I'm still kicking myself. Gru's Family Mansion from Minions. Everybody loves the Minions. Those movies are awesome, but I don't know about the Lego sets. They basically aren't getting much buzz, but it's a mixed bag. Every now and then I hear somebody say, hey, these are going to be great because there aren't many other Lego Minion sets. Yes, we don't have good comparables to go off of, but someday everybody who grew up with Minions will become adults and want to go back and get all these sets. I think there's some validity to that theory, but I think that's going to be way too long of a hold time, so I'm going to be passing on these. And now a bunch of sets with 2 mentions and a very low 1.0 enthusiasm score. Santa's Post Office, same comments as the Alpine Lodge. I go back and forth on which one I'd like a little better. I think the Alpine Lodge is probably a better bet. This awesome Technic Liebherr Crawler Crane LR, $13,700. It's huge. There are a few other very large Technic construction type sets that have done very well in the secondary market. This was 30% off. Maybe it was only 25% off on Amazon a couple of months ago, but I chickened out and I did not grab one. And I think I'm still okay with that decision. It's just so much money to go in on, but I still like it and I still think it has opportunity. Technic Space, the vertical takeoff and landing heavy cargo. A lot of moving parts in here, a couple of side builds. I like it a lot. I grabbed one at 50% off. That'll probably be for personal collection. $110. Actually not terrible. It's a discount set for investing. I think because it's space themed and a little futuristic, it has some potential. But the one I really want to get in this Technic Space sub theme is this Mars Crew Exploration Rover. $150 set. I think I found it for around $120, but I'm hoping for a better discount. I definitely want this one in my personal collection. City Lifeguard Truck. I know I blew off the donut van, but this one I like. $25 set. Just a great build. A lot of great grit, a lot of personality, a lot of toughness to this lifeguard rescue vehicle. A couple of city minifigures. I haven't got any, but I bet I'll find a few on discount and grab them. Venom mech armor versus Miles Morales. Not the best mech, it's okay. Captain America versus Red Hulk battle. $55, 223 pieces. Yes, it does have a big fig, 3 other minifigures. I feel like this is this year's X-Men X-Jet or the Hoopty. So probably a pass. Hogwarts Castle Potions class. If I see it for 50% off or more, I'll grab it. And then the last one with 2 mentions, but it already retired in July, but I still want to show it in case there's some zombie stock, is the Green Goblin construction figure. I do not like the brick built construction action figures, but this one is very unique. I think there's a slight potential at a huge discount. Now a bunch of sets with only 1 mention. The first 5 got an enthusiasm score of 3. Creator 3-in-1. Adorable dogs, and they sure are adorable. Look at those little faces. I do love this set because the alternate builds are just more adorable dogs. So to get the most out of this set, of course, everybody's going to need 3. But unfortunately, the data isn't very strong on this one, so probably a pass. I did grab a couple though at 70% off from Walmart. Yeah, here's the eBay sold data. 22 on a $30 set. I don't know, probably around 20. Another one for 22. Here's one for under 20 when shipping is included. Creator 3-in-1 Red Dragon, too small of a set. Jay's Mech Battle Pack, also a $10 set, so probably too small of a set. However, 4 minifigures and a mech in a $10 set. I totally forgot this set was out there and is retiring this year. I actually just picked up 2 of these because I wanted to get 2 of the Lion Knights castles that are on back order. I'm worried that they might go out of stock sooner than later and not make it to the end of December. I figured grab a couple now and get a couple of Space Baby GWPs, even though those aren't going to do great. They're just kind of cool. But since the Lion Knights castle is on back order and I wanted to make sure my Space Babies shipped, I actually grabbed one of these for each of my orders, thinking 4 minifigures for $10. They're all valued less than $3, of course, and none of them are exclusive, but still, what a deal. And then the last one with an E-score of 3, I actually like a fair amount. Hogwarts Icons Collector's Edition. I think it's a really well-designed set. Long shelf life is a problem. Solid 4.3, $300, 3,000 pieces, but 3 exclusive minifigures, and they are the golden minifigures. Let's zoom in and check those out. So those look good. And then all the little individual builds. Normally I don't like sets like this, but it's like a bunch of movie props or book props. And so this one does work for me. And of course the Hedwig is fantastic. Talking about Hedwig, here's the one that retired in 2023 and had tons of zombie stock. I think at Barnes & Noble for over a year. But even after all of that, $40 retail, showing 54 on Brickset. And although the wings don't flap in this Hedwig, I think it is a better looking design. And the chart on camelcamelcamel.com is awesome. Never been on sale on Amazon, out of stock for the last year it looks like, and therefore going for $350 to almost $420. There aren't a lot of good comparables, but maybe this Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition that retired at the end of last year. $461 for a $500 set. I know that sounds like a loss, but it was on big discount, not a very popular set, and so this $461 is actually surprising a lot of people, and people are already making some decent return on investment at that price when they got it for around $300. So I would like to grab at least 2 of these. We'll see if it happens. I'm going to assume that we don't find it on discount. So adding in tax, $321 total cost. That is high. I hate buying sets at full price, but I'm sure I'll be able to wait until a double insider points day. Hopefully 10% on Rakuten, maybe a GWP, add all that together. How about $236 buy-in, 21% off? Still not great, but if it goes up to $400, then that is a 63% return on investment. After taxes, about $150 per unit of profit. But maybe this set goes to $450, which is an 82% return on investment, or maybe even $500. I mean, there really could be something very iconic about this set, and it could be flying under the radar. Obviously, at $500, that'd be an amazing 100% return on investment. And now the sets with 1 mention and an E-score of 2. Team Spidey Dino Crawler Rescue from the Spidey and his amazing friends. I'll be passing on that one. Vespa, too small of a set. Andrea's Modern Mansion, awesome set. DG and I debated this one a fair amount a couple of episodes ago on his channel. 4.5 on Brickset, outstanding. Relatively short 2-year shelf life, but it's a $200 set for friends. My argument with DG is that friends, fans, friends, consumers are a lot more used to paying $50 to maybe $150. So getting this set and then reselling it for $300, I don't think friends fans are looking for that. I think there are too many other friends sets to go for. Only 568 own it, but 1133 want it, so more want than own. That's good. But if we go over here to eBay, the the sold prices so far not looking great. This is 175 with shipping, 195. Here's one that's 170 or less, 200 or less, 149 plus 20 shipping. So here's one for 200. So not terrible, but not great. But friends do pop on good discount at Walmart every now and then. Maybe this one will show up at 40% off. If I found it for 35, 40% off, I would grab it. Obviously, I would love to get it 50% off. The City Harbor, this is an awful set. I get what Lego's going for. I'm happy for them to produce it. As a kid, I might have liked playing with it for a little while, but I would have got tired of it very quickly because it just looks too cartoonish. One of the great things about the City line is that kids get to emulate real life, and this just doesn't emulate real life. There's no harbors where right next door is a shop harbor masters type storefront with a beach and a fishing pier. But my main issue with this set is it has this slight bend in the dock. That just screams unrealistic to me, and that's why as a kid I would have got tired playing with this pretty quickly. Piers are just nice and straight, very formal because ships are huge and you gotta get them in and out very carefully, and so of course there's going to be no weird angles in a big shipping or cargo yard. And then one more thing that just hit me is the ship is not big enough. Take all the pieces for the right side of the build and make the ship a little bigger. Just a miss for me, so definitely not going to invest in it. City, Space Base, and Rocket Launch Pad. I do like the City Space sets. I don't know how much I love this recent style wave of sets. I'm not investing in it because we've had a lot of City Space sets recently. A couple of these new Soapbox Racing cars. $10 sets, so they're too small, but they're kind of cool. The Mario Action Playset Bowser Express Train. I don't invest in any of the action playsets. However, Bowser is a very popular character, and the one Mario playset that is doing decent is this Bowser's Castle Boss Battle, retailed for 100, and it's going for 109. Of course, all of these sets were on discount here and there. The 4+ Star Wars Crimson Firehawk, pass. I don't like the minifigures well enough. A few more Minion sets, Minions and the Banana Car. Those figures are hilarious. Minions Music Party Bus. This one is too clunky, so definitely a pass there. And then Brick Built Gru and Minions. Kind of okay, but still a pass. One of the latest Batmobile versions. I know we've got the new Batman Forever Batmobile. I think that's what it is. This is the Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze version. A lot of people don't like the blue, maybe a little too much blue. Decent minifigures, $60, 435 pieces. Very, very overpriced. Only a year and a half shelf life. I'm not touching this set unless it's 50% off. Here on Camel 3X, not looking good as expected. Hogwarts Castle Boathouse, nice little set. Hogwarts Castle Dueling Club. This is one that I would not even get at 50% off. This have to be like 70% off. Baby Bumpy Ankylosaurus. There are a few of these small brick-built dinosaurs in the Jurassic theme. I actually got a few of these for $10 and $13 during Walmart clearance a couple months ago. Dinosaur fossils, T-Rex skull. I liked this when it came out, but I've actually walked by a couple of these at 40% off. I just don't know what to think about this one, so I'm just not paying that close attention anymore. And then last one with an E-score of 2 is Knuckles Guardian Mech. I skip all of the Sonic action play sets unless they're 70% clearance. Now 38 sets with 1 and 1 on the table, and most of these are just atrocious for investing, like this Vespa 125, Land Rover Classic Defender 90, the large brick built one, a little better, but too narrow of a market. Over the Moon with Pharrell Williams would have been cool 10 years ago. Spider-Man and Doc Ock, Team Spidey Web Spinner Headquarters. I would have loved this as a young kid. Minecraft the Fox Lodge, Minecraft the Crafting Table, the 18+ set, right? Yeah, it's got the black box design. I actually had this in my first Power Rankings video this year, but I took it out for my second one because somebody made a very astute comment, which is this saw a good discount at Costco, and sets who see that early or mid in life historically do not perform well. I think the buzz has completely dropped out on this one, kind of like a race to the bottom. The Target exclusive Family Tree, good tree, terrible everything else. Walmart exclusive Sea Animals, not going to be like the aquarium set from a couple years ago. The $10 London Bus, Botanical Daffodils. I like getting these little botanical sets. They're normally $15 for, $6, $7, or $8 because I'll throw them in with a larger set that I'm selling locally. Everybody loves flowers. It helps move some sets every now and then. Technic John Deere Forage Harvester. I still like the 3 Technic John Deere sets, even though the 2 that have already retired are not in the green compared to the retail price. I still think they have pretty long runways. It's just going to take a longer hold time. I didn't get any of the smaller John Deere tractors because I didn't want to hold them too long, but I did get 3 of the larger retailed for $200, and I got them for 35% off. And Brickset's showing 171 already. Give them a couple more years and I'll be excited about those. those. Another Technic, the small space-themed one. I still like this one, but not as much as the other two. And then this is the one I already talked about and love. Elsa's Ice Palace, no idea. I know Elsa was popular a long time ago. I'm not sure if there's still any demand for the Elsa sets. The Construction Steamroller, I think it'll be great, but it's just a $10 set, so I probably won't get any. City Fire Rescue Plane, now this one I like. There's a lot of good with that airplane. Very playable and a good look. Target exclusive Space Science Lab was supposed to retire at the end of last year. That would have been awesome, really short shelf life. Now it feels stale. Off-road police car chase, nothing special about it. War Machine mech armor. Spider-Man versus Sandman. Unfortunately, it has Final Battle in the name, so no go there. The X-Men X-Jet, so cool, but $85 for 359 pieces. But Cyclops is valued at $15. Rogue is valued at $15. Magneto is valued at $11, and then Wolverine at $8. So the minifigure value is decent. Iron Spider-Man construction figure, definite pass. This little Hedwig set, basically a parts pack, so no good there. Hagrid's Hut, we've had bunches of them. This one is up to $75. If I saw it for $30, I'd pick it up. Couple of Speed Champions, love them, want them at that discount. This one is great. And then the BMW 2-pack. The 2-packs historically don't do as well, so on this one. And then 3 Animal Crossing sets, passing on all of these, even though the minifigures are pretty awesome. Here's Fly with Dodo Airlines. And then this way overpriced KK's concert at the Plaza, $80 for 550 pieces. Guess we're paying the Animal Farm tax just like the Star Wars tax. Maleficent's Dragon Form is a discount set. The dragon's pretty good. And then lastly is this awful Rockets Warbird versus Ronin. And now wrapping up with my top 3, a lot of good ones to choose from. My third place set, I'm going to go out on a limb here, take a flyer, Santa's Delivery Truck. Of course, if it doesn't retire this year, then all bets are off. And I take back everything I say, but if it does sneak out, I think this is going to be awesome. Second place, easy pick, Mobile Construction Crane. And then my first place set from this video is the animated series Gotham City. Hang it on the wall art set, but has some 3-dimensionality to it. You can pull some panels off and see some scenes in there. I forgot to mention earlier, it has 3 minifigures, and let's look at the value of those real quick. Actually, 4 minifigures, but 3 of them are exclusive. So this unique Batman with the dark bluish gray suit, $31. Excellent Joker, $30. Catwoman is decent, but almost $30 because it is exclusive. And then the Harley Quinn that is in one other set under $10. I'm glad I remembered to talk about the minifigures on this one because within the $300 set, $100 of minifigures, $200 for the art piece, sounding pretty good. All right, that's the list of data to look at. My next video will be all of the not top sets during that 3-month period. As always, thanks a lot for watching. That's a wrap, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I do not provide financial advice. You got to get that from somebody else.